Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Washington State Quarter value coins. In this video, we'll explore the worth, iconic designs, hidden treasures, and shocking history behind the top 3 most valuable and expensive Washington State Quarters from the United States of America. The coins we'll be revealing today include 2004 D State Quarter, 2008 P State Quarter, 2016 P Quarter. These coins are made from copper-nickel-clad metal, the standard composition used for modern U.S. quarters. Each one features the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, along with detailed reverse designs honoring American states and historic national sites. At first glance, these quarters may appear completely ordinary. Many are dirty, worn, and heavily circulated, showing years of everyday use. But don't let their appearance fool you. Certain mint marks, rare errors, and high-grade condition examples have made some of these quarters extremely desirable among collectors. Today, select pieces can be worth thousands, and in rare cases, even far more dollars, depending on condition and rarity. So before you spend that old quarter sitting in your pocket or coin jar, stick around, because you might be holding a hidden fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right first up. Coin number 1. Imagine you're holding a dirty, scratched, ordinary-looking 2008 Washington State Quarter in your hand. It feels like just another 25-cent coin. Copper nickel clad. Philadelphia mint mark. P under the motto. The reverse says New Mexico, land of enchantment. Most people would toss it into a tip jar without thinking. But here's the truth most don't realize: sometimes the coins that look the most ordinary hide the most extraordinary stories. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Over decades, it became one of the most recognized coins in America. Then in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program, and it changed coin collecting forever. For 10 years, from 1999 to 2008, each state got its own design. Millions of Americans started checking their change. Kids, parents, retirees. The hobby exploded. And in 2008, near the end of the program, New Mexico got its moment. The 2008 New Mexico Quarter features the Zia sun symbol, a sacred symbol of the Zia Pueblo people. 4 groups of rays. 4 directions. 4 seasons. 4 stages of life. It's simple, powerful, cultural, deeply rooted in history. On the surface, it looks clean and minimal. But beneath that design lies something collectors always watch for: errors, varieties, and condition rarity. Now let's be very clear. A normal, heavily circulated 2008 P New Mexico quarter is worth 25 cents. Maybe slightly more in bulk. There were hundreds of millions minted in Philadelphia alone. This was not a rare coin by production numbers. It was made to circulate widely. And it did. But coin value is not just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in perfect condition. It's about errors. It's about unusual strikes. It's about the tiny differences most people never notice. In circulated condition, dirty, worn, scratches across Washington's cheek, faded luster, the value stays close to face value. That's reality. But in uncirculated, high-grade condition, especially graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services, prices can jump dramatically. Not millions. Not billions. But sometimes hundreds, even over $1,000 if the coin is nearly flawless and scarce in that grade population. And then there are mint errors. Off-center strikes. Double dies. Clipped planchets. Die cracks. Missing clad layers. Broad strikes. These are the moments when a common coin becomes uncommon. A dramatic mint error on a 2008 P New Mexico quarter could sell for hundreds or more depending on the severity and eye appeal. Because collectors don't just collect coins. They collect stories frozen in metal. The copper-nickel clad composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, sometimes reveals strange visual effects when struck improperly. A missing clad layer can expose the copper core, turning the coin into a two-tone anomaly. That's when ordinary pocket change starts attracting serious attention. But here's where viral myths go too far. There is no verified, legitimate sale of a 2008 New Mexico quarter for millions of dollars in normal condition. Claims that a circulated example will make you a billionaire overnight are fantasy. Coin markets don't work that way. Value is determined by rarity, demand, condition, and authentication. Without those elements, a coin remains what it was made to be: currency. Still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't check your change. Because sometimes people miss small but important details. Look closely at the P mint mark. Check for doubling in the lettering. Examine the rays of the Zia symbol for die breaks. Inspect the edges for unusual thickness. Weigh the coin if possible, a significant weight difference could indicate an error. Listen to the sound it makes when lightly tapped. Study the surface under light for luster breaks versus cleaning damage. Cleaning is the silent killer of coin value. A dirty coin can still be valuable. A cleaned coin often loses collector appeal. That heavily circulated quarter in your drawer may not be a hidden fortune, but if it's in exceptional condition or shows a genuine mint error, it could be worth far more than 25 cents. And beyond the money, there's something deeper. The 2008 New Mexico quarter represents the final chapter of a historic program that brought coin collecting back into mainstream American culture. It symbolizes how everyday objects can reconnect people with history, with geography, with art, with national identity. When you hold that coin, you're holding a small piece of American minting history from the final year of a decade-long cultural phenomenon. So will it make you a billionaire overnight? No. But could the right example, flawless, rare in grade, or dramatically flawed in the minting process, bring surprising value? Absolutely. The real power isn't in fantasy numbers. It's in knowledge. The people who profit in coin collecting aren't the ones chasing viral headlines. They're the ones studying condition, understanding grading scales, learning minting mechanics, watching auction trends, being patient. That's how fortunes are built in the coin world. Not overnight, but over time. So before you spend that 2008 New Mexico quarter, pause for a second. Look at it. Study it. Respect it. Most will be worth face value. A few might be worth much more. And the only difference between the two is attention. Sometimes wealth isn't about what you have. It's about what you notice. Hold a 2016 Washington quarter in your hand. Look at it closely. It feels ordinary. Cold. Light. Familiar. On the front, George Washington. On the back, Harpers Ferry. John Brown's fort standing quiet in metal. Most people never look twice. But sometimes the coins that look the most normal carry the loudest stories. The 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, a program that ran from 2010 to 2021, honoring national parks and historic sites across the United States. Each design wasn't just art. It was memory, land, conflict, identity. This particular reverse captures John Brown's fort in West Virginia, the site of the 1859 raid that intensified the tensions leading to the Civil War. That small brick building represents rebellion, division, courage to some, controversy to others. And it was stamped onto hundreds of millions of quarters. The 2016 Mint mark tells us it was struck in Philadelphia, one of the oldest and most important mints in America. These coins are copper-nickel clad. A pure copper core, layered with a blend of copper and nickel on the outside. Durable. Meant for circulation. Built to survive pockets, parking meters, gas stations, grocery stores. This was not designed to be rare. Millions were made. Millions were spent. millions were worn down. So here's the truth most viral headlines won't tell you. A heavily circulated, dirty, scratched 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter is worth face value 25 cents. That's reality. But coin value is not only about mintage numbers. It's about condition. It's about preservation. It's about errors. And it's about how many survived in extraordinary shape. In circulated condition, worn details on Washington's hair, faded lines on the fort, dull luster, collectors treat it as common currency. But in high uncirculated grades, especially coins graded MS-67 or above by professional services, the story changes. Not into millions of dollars. Not into billionaire fantasy. But into real, serious collector money. High-grade examples can sell for strong premiums because very few coins pulled from circulation survive without marks. Perfection is rare. Even when the coin itself isn't. And then there are errors. Mint errors are where ordinary turns unusual. A dramatic off-center strike. A missing clad layer exposing the copper core. A broad strike with distorted edges. A doubled die creating shadowed letters. A die crack running like lightning across the surface. These are accidents born inside the minting process. Mechanical mistakes frozen in metal. A major, visually dramatic error on a 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter could command hundreds, sometimes more, depending on severity and demand. Because collectors chase the unusual. The abnormal. The pieces that shouldn't exist. But let's slow down. There is no verified, legitimate example of a normal 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter selling for millions of dollars. There is no public record of one turning someone into a billionaire overnight. Those claims are viral exaggerations. They spread fast. They create excitement. They fuel hope. But the real coin market moves differently. Auction houses. Grading populations. Condition rarity. Collector demand. These are the engines of value. A coin becomes expensive when supply in top condition is low and demand among collectors is high. Not because it's dirty. Not because it's circulated. Not because someone on social media said so. In fact, heavy circulation usually lowers value. Scratches. Rim dings. Cleaning damage. Surface hairlines. All of these reduce collector appeal. Ironically, sometimes a dirty coin is better than a shiny cleaned one. Cleaning strips originality. It kills the natural luster collectors look for. So what should you actually check? Look closely at the mint mark. Examine the edges. Study the lettering for doubling. Inspect the surface under light for unusual texture. Weigh the coin if you can. Dramatic weight differences can signal errors. Most will be normal. Some might be interesting. A very small number could be special. But the real power of the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter isn't billionaire fantasy. It's history. It represents a site that helped push America toward its defining conflict. It connects pocket change to the Civil War era. It shows how everyday currency carries national memory. And here's something most people miss. The America the Beautiful series came after the State Quarters program. It didn't receive the same level of mainstream collecting frenzy. That means many of these coins quietly entered circulation without people hoarding them in large numbers. Over decades, high-grade survivors from circulation could become harder to find. That's where future collector premiums can grow. Not overnight. Not instantly. But gradually. The coin market rewards patience. Knowledge beats hype. Collectors who make money don't chase viral claims. They study grading standards. They understand minting mechanics. They follow auction results. They know population reports. They buy quality, not fantasy. So if you find a 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter in your change, don't expect it to buy you a mansion tomorrow. But don't ignore it either. Hold it. Look at John Brown's fort. Remember that history lives in small places. And understand this: wealth in coin collecting doesn't come from believing every headline. It comes from learning what others overlook. Most of these quarters are worth 25 cents. A few in exceptional condition are worth much more. And the difference between the two isn't luck. It's attention. Take a slow breath and picture this. A 2004 Washington State quarter. Denver mint mark. A small D beside the date. The reverse reads Iowa Foundation in Education. It looks ordinary. Worn. Scratched. Maybe a little dirty from years of circulation. You might find it in a drawer. In a tip jar. Under your car seat. And most people would never think twice. But let's slow down and really look at what this coin represents. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932. Decades later, in 1999, the United States Mint launched the 50-state quarters program, a cultural phenomenon that ran through 2008. Every year, 5 new states were honored. Americans of all ages began checking their change. It became more than money. It became a national treasure hunt. In 2004, Iowa was one of the featured states. The reverse design shows a one-room schoolhouse. A teacher. Students planting a tree. The words Foundation in Education. Simple. Quiet. Powerful. It symbolizes growth through knowledge. The belief that education builds a state. Builds a country. Builds a future. Now here's where hype begins to spread online. You may hear claims that a 2004 Iowa quarter is worth millions of dollars. That it can make you a billionaire overnight. That a dirty, circulated example could change your life instantly. Let's separate fact from fantasy. The 2004 Iowa quarter was struck in large numbers at the Denver Mint. Hundreds of millions were produced. It was designed for circulation. It entered banks, stores, gas stations. Everyday America. In heavily circulated condition, worn details, flattened surfaces, small scratches, its value is usually 25 cents. That's the honest truth. But coin collecting is not only about mintage numbers. It's about condition rarity. It's about errors. It's about survival at the highest grade. Most coins enter circulation and get damaged quickly. Tiny contact marks happen during minting, counting, transport, and storage. So when a coin survives in near-perfect condition, no wear, strong luster, sharp details, that becomes rare. A 2004 Iowa quarter graded at very high mint state levels, like MS67 or above, can command strong premiums from collectors. Not millions. Not billions. But potentially hundreds, even more depending on the market and population numbers. Because perfection is scarce. Even among common coins. Now let's talk about mint errors, the real wildcards. During the minting process, machines operate at incredible speed. When something goes wrong, unusual coins are created. These are not intentional. They are mechanical accidents. Off-center strikes. Double dies in lettering. Clipped planchets. Die cracks across the schoolhouse. Missing clad layers revealing the copper core. A dramatic and authenticated mint error on a 2004 Iowa quarter can sell for significant money, sometimes hundreds or more depending on how striking the error is and how much collectors desire it. But here's the key word. Authenticated. Without professional grading and verification, a claim is just a claim. There is no verified public record of a normal 2004 Iowa quarter selling for millions of dollars in circulated condition. Those stories are viral exaggerations. They create excitement. They attract clicks. They spark hope. But real coin markets move differently. Serious collectors study population reports. They analyze auction records. They examine strike quality. They understand grading standards. They don't rely on hype. And here's something interesting about the Iowa design. Because it has fine lines in the schoolhouse and trees, strike quality can vary. Some coins show weaker details. Others show crisp definition. Subtle differences in strike sharpness can influence collector interest in high grades. Also, cleaning damage is common. Many people polish coins thinking it increases value. In reality, cleaning destroys originality and often reduces value significantly. A naturally toned, even if slightly dirty coin, is often more desirable than a shiny cleaned one. The copper-nickel clad composition, outer nickel-copper layers bonded to a copper core, is durable but not immune to flaws. Lamination errors or missing layers can create dramatic visual differences. Those are the types of coins that truly stand out. So could your 2004 Iowa quarter change your life overnight? If it's heavily circulated and normal, no. If it's an extreme, rare mint error in spectacular condition, it could be worth far more than face value. But billionaire overnight? That belongs to fantasy, not numismatics. Still, don't dismiss the coin completely. Because the real value may not only be monetary. The 50-state quarters program reignited American coin collecting. It introduced millions of young people to history through pocket change. It made people pay attention again. That Iowa quarter represents education as a foundation for growth. And maybe that message applies here too. The true power in coin collecting is education. Learning grading standards. Understanding mint errors. Recognizing originality. Studying market trends. The collectors who build wealth in this field do it slowly. Strategically. Patiently. They don't chase viral headlines. They chase knowledge. So next time you find a 2004 Iowa Foundation in Education quarter in your change, don't expect a mansion tomorrow. But do something more powerful. Examine it carefully. Study it under light. Check for sharp details. Look for unusual features. Respect the history it carries. Most will be worth 25 cents. A small number might be worth much more. And the difference between the two is not luck. It's awareness. Sometimes fortune doesn't come from what you hold. It comes from what you understand.